For years, Jonah Hill has been one of Hollywood's most unpredictable chameleons. But this time, even his biggest fans didn't recognize him. New photos from the set of his upcoming film Cut Off have the internet doing a double take. Slimmed down, platinum blonde hair, rugged beard. It's a whole new Jonah. And what's got everyone talking isn't just the look, it's what this transformation means. Because behind the wild hair and bright clothes, there's a story of reinvention, rejection, and a man quietly rewriting his Hollywood identity on his own terms. But before we dive into the deeper reason behind this major shift, let's start with what's really happening on that movie, set that has fans so stunned. Jonah Hill isn't just starring. In Cut Off, he's shaping it from the ground up. The film, a dark comedy about two spoiled twins who suddenly lose their parents' financial support, is Hill's latest project as a writer, director, and lead actor. His co-star? The always unpredictable Kristen Wiig, who joins him as the other half of the dysfunctional duo. And if that combo sounds chaotic, it's meant to be. Set photos from Los Angeles show the two dressed in eccentric, over-the-top outfits, Hill in bright colors, Wiig with her signature comedic flair. But it's Jonah's look that's stolen the spotlight. Fans were stunned to see the actor with a noticeably slimmer build, bleached blonde hair, and a full beard, a striking contrast to his usual laid-back style. He's practically unrecognizable, and that's exactly the point. For Hill, transformation has never been about vanity. It's about stepping deeper into the character. Each role he takes seems to demand a different version of him, physically and emotionally. But this time, the change feels personal, as if he's using the film not just to entertain, but to shed the last version of himself that Hollywood thought it knew. What makes Cut Off so significant is that it's more than just another comedy. It's a creative statement. Hill isn't chasing laughs. He's chasing freedom. Freedom to create, to direct, and to show that the Jonah Hill we once saw in Superbad or 21 Jump Street is long gone. And yet, this transformation didn't come out of nowhere. Hill's relationship with change, both physical and emotional, has been unfolding for years. Jonah Hill's transformations have always sparked conversation, sometimes admiration, sometimes judgment, but rarely silence. From his breakout days as the funny, awkward kid in Superbad to his Oscar-nominated performances in Moneyball and The Wolf of Wall Street, Hill has lived his evolution under a microscope. Every pound gained or lost became a headline. Every photo sparked a new round of speculation. It wasn't just the audience noticing, it was the industry. Directors, talk show hosts, even fans felt entitled to comment on his body, often forgetting there was a real person behind the punchlines. Hill later revealed how those years of body shaming and constant scrutiny chipped away at his confidence, turning something as simple as walking onto a red carpet into an emotional test. By 2021, he had enough. In a now-deleted Instagram post, Hill made a heartfelt request. "I know you mean well, but I kindly ask that you not comment on my body, good or bad. It's not helpful and it doesn't feel good." That single message resonated with millions who face similar judgment, and it marked a turning point. For the first time, Jonah was setting boundaries in an industry that rarely allows them. This openness wasn't new. Years earlier, after rapping War Dogs, Hill admitted he called his friend Channing Tatum for fitness advice, asking how to get healthy again. It wasn't about Hollywood standards. It was about reclaiming control. Each transformation since then has felt less like a PR stunt and more like a quiet rebellion against how fame tried to define him. Still, the attention never really stopped. Every photo, every project brought back the same chatter. He looks thinner, he looks heavier, he looks different. But through it all, Hill's message stayed consistent. Stop focusing on the image and start focusing on the work. And that's exactly what he's doing. Because what most people didn't realize was that Jonah wasn't just fighting public perception, he was battling something deeper, something that pushed him to step away from the spotlight entirely. At the height of his fame, when most actors would have doubled down on interviews, red carpets, and constant exposure, Jonah Hill did the opposite. He disappeared. In 2022, he published an open letter announcing he would no longer participate in press tours or public promotions for his projects. The reason? Anxiety. Hill revealed he'd been battling anxiety attacks for nearly 20 years, episodes that grew worse with every media appearance. The flashing lights, the invasive questions, the commentary about his body. It all became too heavy to carry. In his words, stepping back wasn't quitting Hollywood. It was protecting himself. That decision shocked fans and colleagues alike. Hollywood thrives on visibility, yet here was an A-list actor publicly rejecting the spotlight that built his career. It was bold, even risky. But for Jonah, it was necessary. He explained that years of public scrutiny had taken a toll on his mental health, and no award or paycheck was worth sacrificing his peace. What made his statement so powerful was its honesty. Hill didn't dress it up as a break or a creative hiatus. He called it what it was: self-preservation. He understood that the constant cycle of fame, judgment, and media attention was fueling the very anxiety he was trying to overcome. And by drawing that boundary, he redefined what it means to be a celebrity in control of their own narrative. While some questioned how he could direct or star in films without public promotion, Hill quietly proved he didn't need the noise to make an impact. His 2022 Netflix documentary Stutz, a raw and vulnerable look into therapy and self-awareness, became one of his most acclaimed projects. Not because he sold it on talk shows, but because it felt real, and now, with Cut Off, he's taking that evolution even further, turning his own experiences into creative fuel. The film isn't just another comedy. It's a reflection of where he stands now, someone who's stepped back from fame but hasn't stopped creating. But if you think this retreat from the spotlight slowed him down, you'd be wrong. In fact, it might have set the stage for his boldest project yet. When you look at Jonah Hill's career, Cut Off feels less like just another film, and more like a declaration. After years of being typecast, judged, and dissected, Hill is now doing what few actors dare to do: take complete creative control. This isn't just his movie, it's his statement piece. Cut Off tells the story of two privileged twins suddenly stripped of their wealth. A setup that sounds comedic, but carries layers of meaning beneath the humor. Hill co-wrote, directed, and stars in the film, alongside Kristen Wiig, Bette Midler, and Nathan Lane, a powerhouse lineup that blends chaos and class in a single frame. But the deeper story isn't just on screen, it's behind the camera. For the first time, Jonah is both the storyteller and the story. His creative fingerprints are on every line, every scene, every costume choice. Even his striking new look, blonde hair, sculpted beard, noticeably slimmer, seems like part of the narrative. Fans have called it shocking, but in many ways it's symbolic. A visual shedding of the version of Jonah Hill that Hollywood once defined. Directing Cut Off marks the third time. Hill stepped behind the camera, following mid-90s and Stutz, but this one feels different. Mid-90s was nostalgic and tender, a love letter to his past. Stutz was introspective and raw, a window into his soul. Cut Off looks like the bridge between the two, a collision of comedy and confession wrapped in chaos. On set, Hill reportedly created an environment that blurred the line between performance and therapy. According to sources, he encouraged cast and crew to improvise, to explore emotion beyond the script, the same authenticity he's chased in his own life. The result? A project that feels both unpredictable and deeply personal. This isn't the Jonah Hill of Superbad or 21 Jump Street. This is the artist he's been fighting to become. Confident, fearless, and unfiltered. The blonde hair and new body aren't just aesthetic choices. They're armor. A signal to Hollywood that he's not playing by its rules anymore. And while fans are buzzing about his shocking new look, the real transformation may not be physical at all. It's creative. Cut Off could be the moment Jonah Hill stops being Hollywood's funny guy and becomes something much rarer. A voice entirely his own. But with every reinvention comes doubt. And not everyone's convinced this change is purely artistic. Whenever a celebrity transforms, physically, emotionally, or professionally, the internet has questions, and Jonah Hill's new look has triggered plenty of them. Fans have been flooding social media with theories. Is his transformation tied to the character? Is it a health choice? Or is there something deeper going on behind the scenes? Rumors suggest everything from extreme preparation for the role to an intentional image reset. Some believe Hill's dramatic look aligns perfectly with his Cut Off character, a man stripped of privilege and forced to rebuild himself from scratch. Others think it's more personal, a reflection of Jonah's ongoing journey to separate who he is from who Hollywood expects him to be. But speculation has its own risks. After years of body shaming, Hill made it clear he no longer wants people talking about his appearance. Yet here it is again, dominating headlines. It's a frustrating cycle. The same media that once mocked him for his weight now celebrates his, transformation, often ignoring the emotional scars that kind of attention leaves behind. And it's not just about looks. Some insiders have questioned whether Hill's decision to distance himself from press tours might backfire. After all, publicity fuels box office numbers. But others argue the opposite. By staying silent, Hill is creating mystery, and mystery sells. His choice to step away might actually make audiences more curious about what he's doing next. Still, it's impossible to ignore the pressure that comes with constant speculation. The public's obsession with reinvention, especially in Hollywood, often turns deeply personal changes into entertainment. And for someone like Jonah, who's spent years trying to reclaim control over his narrative, that can feel like walking a tightrope. Yet, through it all, he hasn't broken his stride. Every project he's touched since Stutz has carried a sense of quiet defiance, a refusal to let gossip dictate his growth. His creative evolution, not the chatter, is what's defining this next chapter. And if history is any indication, Jonah's greatest power might be his ability to turn skepticism into fuel. Because while people speculate, he creates, and Cut Off might just be the project that silences every doubt once and for all. But after all these changes, in body, mind, and career, one question still lingers. What comes next for Jonah Hill? So what's next for Jonah Hill? If Cut Off is any indication, he's not slowing down. He's just evolving. The film, set to release on July 17th, marks a new chapter in his creative journey. One where he doesn't just act, but commands the entire vision. And the fact that he's doing it quietly, without endless interviews or promo hype, says more about his mindset than any headline ever could. Hill's decision to pull back from the public eye wasn't retreat, it was strategy. He's choosing depth over noise, substance over spectacle. By removing the distractions of fame, he's built a space where he can create freely, without judgment or pressure. That shift isn't just redefining his career, it's redefining what success in Hollywood can look like. But Cut Off is more than a comeback film. It's a mirror. It reflects everything Jonah's been through: privilege, rejection, reinvention, and resilience. It's ironic, really. A movie about losing everything to find yourself. Directed by a man who walked away from Hollywood's spotlight to do the same. And while fans are waiting to see how the film performs, the real impact is already happening. Jonah Hill has become a symbol of creative control in an industry obsessed with exposure. He's proving that you don't have to be everywhere to be seen. Sometimes the loudest statement is made in silence. His transformation, the hair, the beard, the slimmer frame, might grab attention, but it's the intention behind it that stands out. It's not about shock value. It's about ownership. Hill isn't asking anyone to understand him. He's just doing what he's always done best, letting the work speak. And maybe that's the lesson here. In a world addicted to image, Jonah Hill's biggest transformation isn't physical. It's internal. It's the story of a man who stopped chasing validation and started chasing truth. Because for Jonah Hill, the goal was never to look unrecognizable. It was to become unrecognizable to the version of himself that the world once decided he had to be. Jonah Hill's journey isn't just about weight loss, fame, or another Hollywood comeback. It's about evolution. After years of being boxed into one image, one narrative, Cut Off feels like his quiet rebellion, his chance to prove that he's not here to entertain expectations, but to outgrow them, in a world that constantly tries to label artists. Jonah is showing what happens when you stop chasing validation and start chasing truth, no matter how uncomfortable it looks. So whether Cut Off becomes his next masterpiece or just another misunderstood project, one thing's clear: Jonah Hill isn't coming back to Hollywood. He's rebuilding it. On his terms, what do you think? Is this Jonah Hill's artistic rebirth? Or just another Hollywood phase? Jonah Hill's transformation isn't just physical, it's personal. From comedy to chaos, and now to Cut Off, he's proving growth doesn't need an audience. Just courage. If you felt that too, hit subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories, and remember, every reinvention starts with walking away.